I would say the number one biggest block is fear. Fear is the number one reason people fail or just stop practicing, right? I know a number of people who have become interested in having an out-of-body experience, and as soon as they get to the vibrational state, they freak out and they never go back there again. So when that separation begins, the primal instinct is, oh my God, I can't move my body, I'm in sleep paralysis, there's vibrations, they may start to hear all the weird stuff that goes on, and yeah, their heart starts beating out of their chest. So this is a big block. Fear is normal. It's the unknown. You do not have a map for when you get into this environment.
Welcome to the Endless Possibilities Podcast, where the journey of spiritual awakening and energy healing unfolds.
Hello guys, welcome to the Endless Possibilities Podcast. My name is Garrett and I'm delighted to be back again for another episode. This is a solo episode. Me just talking with you guys. So I want you to get comfortable, sit back, relax, maybe put a cup of tea on or a cup of coffee, and we're going to spend a little bit of time today talking about something that was pretty profound for me during my my spiritual awakening. Actually, I would call it a paradigm shift in itself, and that was the phenomena that's known as astral travel. So in one of the most misunderstood, most powerful, and let's be honest, sometimes terrifying tools on the spiritual path, the whole concept of astral travel or out-of-body experiences, OBEs. I mean, people are like, is it an experience in your head? Yeah, is it a dream? Today I'm going to talk about like everything I can think of, all of my experiences. I've had a number of out-of-body experiences. I would say that it was the biggest catalyst to ignite my spiritual awakening. So I'm gonna talk to you today about my first OBE, where I was shot through the roof like a rocket. Yeah. So let's unpack this together. What actually is an OBE, out of body experiences? Can anybody do it? Does it help your spiritual evolution, or is it just spiritual tourism? And most importantly, should you have an out-of-body experience? Okay, so let's start with the first one. What is an out-of-body experience? It at its simplest, an out-of-body experience, or OBE, is a direct experience of your consciousness functioning outside of your physical body while you're still alive. And most of the time it happens when you're either meditating or lying down in a bed. So there's two different types of out-of-body experiences. Maybe more, maybe there's three, but I'm going to talk mainly about the two different types that I experienced. There's the classic astral projection. Okay, what does that mean? The classic astral projection. So that is you initiating somehow a vibrational state, and you then separating from your physical form in a duplicate body known as the astral body, and it feels kind of semi-physical. So I remember getting out of my body. It almost feels like you're just actually like been kind of like you're stuck in mud and you're trying to like pull or roll out of it, and then you kind of like separate and you're actually in a copy of your physical form that seems to be made up of like a translucent energy body. And it feels like you stand, like I would pop out, I would stand. I had stood at the bottom of my bed looking at my physical form in the bed. It feels physical. It feels like if you touch something, like your hand can go through it, but you can actually feel the texture of the solid wall as it goes through it. Some people actually say that they see a silver cord connected to the physical body. I didn't. I didn't notice that. So you can move in this body. You can like, you don't walk. I'm just trying to think how I used to do it. It's been quite a while since I had an OBE, classic OBE, but I guess I would just like will myself to move, and I would move. You can fly, so you would just think to fly, and you would then start to rise up. Or you could think of a place where you would want to go and actually just be there in an instant. And that could be another location, another physical location. Or you could actually travel into like astral realms. So these are kind of like dreamy type worlds with other beings that live there. You can also pass through walls. My first OBE, I flew through the ceiling of my house and was flying. Yeah. So the second type of astral projection is known as pure conscious travel, phasing, or mental projection. And I also had them as well. These would be getting yourself into a meditative state, dropping your data input. So you would kind of like cut out noise, visual stimuli coming in, and then shifting your awareness with your intent to somewhere else. A little bit hard. Well, they're both hard, both difficult. So yeah, and what happens in that one is you travel as just a disembodied awareness. So you do not have the astral body. You just go as an observer, and you can kind of look around. So there's no body. One moment you're in your room meditating, and the next you've just shifted into a completely different reality. Some people might call that remote viewing as well. I know the CIA and the Americans and the Russians back in the 80s used to do remote viewing on one another. And you can be trained in this, and you can get great information and come back, and yeah, it can be verified. So with this type of travel, you can just literally get into a meditative state and shift your awareness somewhere else, into an astral realm, onto the moon, into another galaxy, and observe it as if you were just looking through like your mind's eye. So yeah, there's no cord, there's no second body, no sensations of travel, just instant arrival or instant being. Both are real, both are considered out-of-body experiences. They're just different vehicles. So let's go back to number one, the astral body. What is the astral body? I guess to most people living on the planet, they wouldn't even know that there is an astral body. So it kind of think of your physical body, and then think of a overlaying copy of your body that is made up of emotional, energetic substance. It's made up from the same stuff as your dreams, your imagination, but it's kind of like condensed or in an organized, like vibration, condensed down into like a non-physical, semi-physical form, right? That can move around in consciousness without the physical form, right? So you're not limited by time and space. You're not limited by physical confinements like walls or, an ocean. You can just basically fly over it, or get to wherever you want to get to by thinking. Is it the same as the soul? It's not the soul, but it may contain your soul. I don't know exactly. But it does seem to be a carbon copy of your physical body. Now, I had numerous out-of-body experiences, and I had one experience where I got to look at myself in a mirror when I was in the out-of-body state, and I looked like me apart from the fact that I was transparent. I looked like I was made up of water or some sort of liquid, clear liquid. And it was really strange, really freaky. So is it the soul? I would say it's more your being. I would say it's more your free will awareness unit, or your free will awareness part. And I would say that within that is your soul or yourself. So it's just probably another, like a second body that exists beyond the physical form. The signs that you're close to having an out of body experience. So this would be what's known as the vibrational state. And I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience with the vibrational state. So the vibrational state is the prelude. It's like an energetic sensation that starts to build up in your system just as you're getting close to having an out-of-body experience. So let's just say you're lying down, you're relaxed, maybe you're like coming out of a sleep or a dream, and then suddenly you notice like a subtle vibration, maybe in the mind, maybe in the heart, and you just put your awareness on it, and then all of a sudden that little reverberation just starts building. You start putting your awareness on it, and then all of a sudden it starts getting bigger and it starts spreading, and then all of a sudden it just turns into a kind of like a small tsunami that's just kind of taken on a life by itself, and it starts to go from the tips of your toes all the way up to the top of your head and then back down, and it feels like it's just going. And for a lot of people, it's normally accompanied by a buzzing or a roaring sound that starts in the ears. I can remember my very first out-of-body experience. Honestly, it felt like there was a jet engine either side of my head, and there was just this like, and it just got louder and louder and louder, and it feels like the room is shaking, but it's not the room shaking. It's actually just your astral body is just sort of like, I don't know, like getting ready for the exit. Or some people say it sounds like bees, or yeah, these kind of strange sounds. So the whole body starts vibrating, sometimes gently. Yeah, I have to say I noticed that my first few out of body experiences, it felt very violent, and over time the vibrations, they got a little bit more gentle, a little bit more refined. Um, I also would say that it kind of feels a little bit like Kundalini energy. So if anyone has had a Kundalini experience where the Kundalini is moving in your system, it's a bit similar to the vibrational state. Apart from the Kundalini, I experienced it as a similar moving, but inside of my spine, whereas the vibrational state seems to be body located, moving through the body, not just located in the spine. And then one of the most common symptoms is sleep paralysis. So there seems to be this phenomena that accompanies the vibrational state, which is sleep paralysis. And I'll talk a little bit about sleep paralysis. So from my experience, there seems to be a mechanism in us that stops us from injuring ourselves or hurting our bodies while we dream. So let's just say we fall asleep and all of a sudden we shift into a dream and we're running for our lives in the dream. So there's some sort of mechanism that disconnects what's going on in the consciousness from the mind to stop us running actually in our physical form starts to move while we're dreaming, right? And again, this I'm don't quote me on this. This is just my understanding of going through sleep paralysis. That's what seemed the most likely to me, that there was just some sort of mechanism in us that when we fall asleep, there's a like a safety switch that shuts the body off. So the out of body experience is literally our body falls asleep and our mind or our consciousness stays awake. So body asleep, mind awake, mind is conscious, and then you can try and project using your intent with the mind. So for me, I woke up a number of times in the vibrational state, and it feels like you're paralyzed. So there's all this high energy buzzing, crackling, popping, sounds like there's wind blowing through the room. You might actually even hear your name being called. Yeah, and what happens is you're sort of like in between the physical reality and the astral realm. You're kind of on the edge. Kind of feels like, imagine if you're swimming on the surface of the ocean and you've no goggles on. You know that there's fish below you. There could be all sorts of things, and you can kind of sense it. They might touch your feet, and then you're sort of like, up on the surface level, still in the physical reality, able to look around, but kind of in between both, right? Whereas in an astral projection, you can put your mask on and your snorkel, and then you can pop your head under and you can actually see what's going on. So the vibrational state to me feels like you're sort of stuck in between the two worlds. And the vibration is basically your astral body getting ready to separate. So yeah, again, there are sometimes pops, cracks in your head. It's not actually your head popping, or there's nothing actually dangerous going on. It's like you're on the launch pad ready to have your OBE. Can anybody have an out of body experience? I would say yes. I mean, anyone can do anything, right? If they set their mind to it. Is everybody going to put the time and the effort into having an out of body experience? Probably not. Same reason why not everyone becomes a Premier League footballer or Formula One race car driver, because it takes a lot of effort. Meditating, practicing, waking yourself up in the middle of the night, doing lots of techniques, affirmations. It's not easy to have that first out of body experiences. And I would say a lot of people give up before they have one. So I think anyone can have one, but not everybody will have one. And I think the people who succeed in having an out of body experience have a genuine sense of curiosity in them, not just, oh, I want to do that for the sake of doing it. And again, it's going to take a little bit of, what would I say, dedication. Like if you took up a martial art, you have to be dedicated, you have to be committed, you have to want to sit and meditate for, however long it takes to get yourself into that prelude to having an OBE. So yeah, and willingness to probably feel fear that might come up around having this experience, and then just going anyway and just doing it. So if you can fall asleep, you can have an out of body experience as well, right? So I would say that most people, when they fall asleep, they have some sort of an out of body experience. Your awareness actually leaves your body every evening when you fall asleep, and you just don't have a recall. You might go off and you might be actually learning stuff in non-physical classrooms. I've woke up in these classrooms. Yeah. So there's lots of stuff that goes on that we're just not aware about every evening. Sometimes people have had spontaneous out-of-body experiences. My sister has had a number of just random out-of-body experiences where she's been overly tired and just woke up hovering over her body. So, so I think a lot of people, maybe 10, 20% of the population, at one stage in their lifetime, maybe down to like a trauma, illness, maybe they've drank alcohol or taken drugs, have had an out-of-body experience. Only they just think it's a hallucination or, down to alcohol or something like that. The only difference between them and a conscious projection is the intention and the training that goes into having a conscious out-of-body experiences. Techniques on how to get out of body. Yeah, I've had, yeah. So anyway, I'll talk about a few different types of techniques that I used. So one of the easiest ones that I came across, so I did lots of different ones, right? I was meditating. I was trying to, use all these different methods to get myself out of body. The rope technique, I would meditate and imagine I was, pulling myself out of my body. The one that kind of I noticed worked for me was waking up in the middle of the night and getting up, doing something, and then laying back down in bed and then kind of waiting for the vibrational state. So I think some people call that wake back to bed, and it's, the most reliable. So you would basically set your alarm for 4 to 6 hours after you fall asleep. Wake up, stay awake for 15 minutes, half an hour, read a little bit, have a glass of water. Usually, I think most people who would do this would read like an out-of-body book or something like that, and then lay back down and have an intent to have an out-of-body experience. Affirmations, I would say, were very important in me having my my first OBE. Every day I would say stuff like, I now have the ability to go out of body. Out of body travel is easy for me. Stuff like this. So I think, lying in bed, repeating them affirmations over and over and over again. As you're drifting off to sleep, you keep your awareness on the third eye or the heart. And you just hope for the vibrational state to kick in. The other one is, I just mentioned, the rope technique. It was a Robert Monroe classic. It was just imagining that you were pulling yourself, you were lying down, there's a rope above you, and then you're using your astral hands or arms to pull yourself out of body. Never worked for me. So next one is the rollout technique, although it wasn't something that I used to initiate the vibrations, but I would use it when the vibrations hit, and it would be me mentally rolling like a log in water, my astral body, and popping out. So this was more when the vibrations had started, and it was a way of separating the physical form, and you just keep rolling until you fall out. And usually what would happen to me would be I would actually roll out and fall off the side of the bed and through the floor. The next one is phasing. So in meditation, you're sitting, lying down, meditating until you get your mind extremely quiet. And then instead of watching thoughts, you just notice the space in behind your eyelids. It's like you're imagining, this is how I would do it, two lines that start from the corners of your eyes, and then the two of them meeting like at a point, maybe a foot in front of your face. And then you kind of put your awareness on that space and you keep watching it. And what can happen is that little spot can start to become sort of electric, or, like a spark or something might open up. The meditative space actually becomes kind of like a 3D space. And then you sort of just step into it with your awareness. So what are the biggest blocks in out of body travel? I would say the number one biggest block is fear. Fear is the number one reason people fail or just stop practicing, right? I know a number of people who have become interested in having an out of body experience, and as soon as they get to the vibrational state, they freak out and they never go back there again. So when that separation begins, the primal instinct is, oh my God, I can't move my body. I'm in sleep paralysis. There's vibrations. They may start to hear all the weird stuff that goes on, and their heart starts beating out of their chest. So this is a big, big block. Fear is normal. It's the unknown. You do not have a map for for when you get into this environment. It doesn't work the way our physics do. You move differently. Couple of years ago, I remember doing uh, scuba diving, and I loved doing snorkeling, swimming in the ocean, and I had my first scuba diving session, and I was taken down. And once I got down there, I kind of freaked. I just sort of like couldn't figure out how everything was working. There was so much overloading my nervous system. My ears were popping. My mask was filling with water. Yeah, the fear hit me and I freaked out. And I can imagine that that's what it might be like when you find yourself in a different environment. Your legs don't work. You feel like you can't move the way you normally move. And then there are astral beings. So there are, deceased ones or astral entities, and they know how the reality works, but you don't. There's a lot to consider when having an out of body experience. So most of the time, it's all about your intention and having a clear intention, and then like programming your own consciousness to what you want to experience when you have an out of body experience. If you're terrified, if you're full of fear and you do get out of the body, you're just going to attract more uh, scary situations into your experience. So I would say the best thing to do is have no fear, and whatever happens, you're going to deal with it. So you might do an affirmation before you go out of body, something like, I only meet beings of love and light, and nothing else has any power over me. So the first out of body experience I had, when I finally came down out of the sky and landed in my astral body, I got so excited that a big elastic band snapped me back into my body. And I was like, oh my God, what was that? So there's lots of stuff like that. One of the most important things to do when you get out is just to stay calm. Don't freak out. Don't get overexcited. Try and keep your fear down. And yeah, some people would say stuff like clarity now or awareness now. I think that was William Buhlman used to say them. Because sometimes you can get out of body and your vision doesn't work, which is a really weird one. I've had that happen a number of times. Uh, Everything kind of looks a little bit different when you get into the out of body state. Everything looks super high definition, like somebody's turned up all the sharpness and the contrast. Looks different. Things might be in slightly different places. But I would say just stabilize, get away from your physical body, because there seems to be something about the physical body. If you're too close to it, it pulls you back in. So I would say to just get out and then move to somewhere like a sitting room or something like that, and just kind of get used to how it is in that reality. So just don't go flying off. Just stay close by, but not too close to the body, so you can kind of get used to it. And then over time, maybe you get out a couple of times, you can then set your intention, take me wherever I need to go for my highest good, or show me my soul's purpose. So there also seems to be something that helps you, like a higher power or a guide, and it might come in and, help maneuver you to something that you need to see. So there's lots of stuff that can go on, having experiences of past lives, seeing deceased loved ones in the astral. So, you can do all of this. Maybe you had a loved one that passed on, and you can get into the out of body state and you can think of that person and go see them. So there's so many different things you can do in the astral. You can see past lives. You can go visit deceased teachers or gurus. Yeah, you can go to any place on the planet and off the planet. So do out of body experiences help your spiritual evolution? Oh, yeah. So this is a funny one. For me, I would say it was a paradigm shift, my very first astral projection. I had a fear of dying. And once I had my first out of body experience, I knew without a doubt that my soul, my being lives on, even if my physical form dies. I knew that I was eternal. So that was huge. Was it a spiritual awakening? No. Did it aid me in any sort of like consciousness evolution or raising my vibration? It's hard to know. I felt that I kind of was very immature when I started having out of body experiences, and I don't think I really did anything of any significance that could have actually evolved my being. So yes, I had a good time. Yes, it was really good fun. Did I evolve as a being? I would say, if I'm really honest, no, it didn't. If I'm being really honest. So do you have to have out of body experiences to progress you in your spiritual journey? If I'm really honest, I would say no, I don't think you do need to have them. Are they fun? Do they prise your mind open? Yes. And that could be huge, right? If you believe that you're just a physical body and you are looking for some sort of proof of, is there an afterlife? I would say, yes, go and do it. So, ego, when you're in the out of body state, can actually get you into a lot of trouble. And it can actually just get you lost in the astral. I guess they're like playgrounds. You can do anything in them. You can go there. You can create things with your mind. And yeah, you can just get sucked into all these sort of like belief traps. And yeah, you can meet beings there. Not all of them are benevolent. So I would also say that you might go on a bit of a power trip if your ego hasn't been sort of tamed, and you just don't want to go into the lower astral realms because it's just full of nasty, um, horrible purgatories. So I would, want to get into the higher astral realms, meditate, go towards the light. So you could do conscious love centered projections. And what is that? So these are usually soul retrievals. So you might get into the out of body state and you might actually be put to work where you become useful. So they send you out on little missions to help trapped souls. So you might find people who have passed on but have not yet moved over to the light and are just kind of stuck in the lower astral realms. I did a little bit of that, finding people, explaining to them that they're dead and that they need to move on. Again, I don't know. I did it. I don't know if it did anything for me. So yeah, it's just you're gaining experience, you're gaining proof that you're not the body. You might meet aspects of yourself and the universe that might dissolve fear, the fear of dying or death. You bring back a knowing, not just a belief. So it's not the same as just reading a book on someone telling you about out of body experiences. You actually have direct lived experience. It feels real. There's no mistake in it. So here's the plot twist. So when you evolve enough, you will actually realize that you're not even having an out of body experience. You don't even have a physical body. And the goal is not to leave the body. The goal is to realize you were never in it. You're just consciousness. There is no physical form. There's no physical reality. Everything is just awareness. Your objective reality isn't really objective. You're just perceiving it that way. So should you do it? I mean, only you can answer that. It might be a good one to sit and meditate on. Is this useful for me? Or am I just doing it to escape my boring life? Yeah, for me, I wanted to get out of the body. I wanted to have adventures, but it didn't bring me any spiritual evolution. Am I willing to face my shadows when they show up in living color? Do I have a daily practice of grounding, meditation, and service? Usually, if you're doing this sort of work on yourself, then Should you do out-of-body stuff? I mean, yeah, if you're working on yourself, then I don't see it as being a problem. I think so I think I covered quite a bit today. My experience. Did I have a whole lot of out-of-body experience? I would say probably over the course of about a year and a half, I had maybe 2 or 3 astral projections a week. So, sometimes more, sometimes less. Sometimes I would have 3 in a night. Eventually they just died down. They got less and less. And then I kind of shifted into having more sort of lucid dreams. So if you feel the call, I would say, yeah, go and do it. Why not? Keep a journal, write down your experiences, reach out to OBE communities. There's lots and lots of them out there. Read out-of-body books, Bob Monroe, William Buhlman, Bob Peterson. I interviewed quite a few people. There's an OBE section on the podcast, on the YouTube channel. Watch them guys' videos. Tom Campbell is another great one. And just try to keep chipping away at the fear. And if you do get out of body, you should have no issues. So guys, I thank you again for joining me. It's been another exciting conversation, something totally different than what I normally do on this channel. And I'll tell you exactly why I did it. I was actually on as a guest on a podcast today, and it was an out-of-body podcast, and it just kind of made me think that it might be a good one to do on my own channel. So I believe in you, and I know you guys are all amazing, and you can do anything you set your mind to. So until the next time, guys, thank you so much for joining. Take care. Bye-bye.
This has been the Endless Possibilities Podcast, where the journey of spiritual awakening and energy healing unfolds. Garrett is a lifelong seeker of truth, a spiritual teacher and author, and it's his passion to delve into the profound world of consciousness. We hope you've enjoyed the show, and we hope you've gotten something from it. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, the podcast is available on YouTube and all the major podcasting platforms. Find us on Instagram at _mother_force. Take care, and we'll see you soon on the Endless Possibilities Podcast.